I've made a simple program to make sound from the Raspberry Pi Pico. One thing that's needed is to note which pins I've got the audio attached to. And so I'll just copy in my note there. GPIO 28 and 27. To time how long the sound goes for, I need a sleep command, sleep function imported, and for making the sounds I need the pin and PWM functions imported. To initialize the pins, that pin function is used, so that's done for GPIO 28 and 27. Then to initialize the PWM, which is going to toggle the speakers off and on very fast. The PWM function is used with the output of the previous function of pin going into the PWM function here. I've then got a function that takes in a frequency and how long to make the sound for. It's called beep2 because it beeps both the left and right speakers to speakers. It sets the frequency on both of them. It sets the duty cycle to this number, which is a 50% duty cycle. So once these are set, the sound will be going, and then the function sleeps, just leaving the sound going for the time that's been requested, and then having finished that, the dinit function is used to stop the PWM making the sound. I made another function that then uses milliseconds instead of seconds for the time, and converts that from milliseconds into seconds. That's not that important. And then from there, that's enough to play a sound. If I choose a frequency and a length of time in milliseconds. And then if I add another sound, it sounds a bit like a BBC Micro booting up. And I'll just add a few more notes. First asleep to separate that sound from the next ones, and then a loop to play 5 different notes. That's just increasing frequency as it goes, and just a short amount of time, 1/10 of a second for each one. And yeah, that's playing a sound fairly simply on the Raspberry Pi Pico using PWM and MicroPython. I wanted to make an 80s style microcomputer from a Raspberry Pi Pico with MicroPython on it and some simple connections for VGA graphics, audio and a keyboard. I'm using a Pimoroni VGA demo board here to connect the audio to headphones down here. I've also been able to get sound out previously with just a piezo speaker and resistor. The demo board also allows connecting to VGA and a micro SD card. It doesn't include a PS2 keyboard connection. For now I'm using the USB serial connection for the keyboard. I've got individual pins connected up instead of plugging the whole thing in. So this could plug directly in here, but instead I'm wiring them individually. I've got grey for power, that's labelled VSys. I've got orange also for power, labelled 3.3 volts. Not sure if both of those are needed, but with them connected it works. I've got the black ground wire and the white and red audio signals, so they all go from the Raspberry Pi Pico over to the demo board here. And there's also some extra wires which may be used for VGA signals in future, but I'm not using them yet.